James Michael.
I'm DJ Ashba.
I'm Nikki Sixx.
We are 6 a.m. and you are listening to Linea Rock.
Yeah.
Welcome James, welcome at DJ Ashba, and welcome Nikki, welcome to Milan, welcome to Linea Rock.
Thank you.
Thanks.
A pleasure to have you here. Okay, so you're here playing the Gods of Metal. Are you happy about it? It's not the first time for you. For some of you, it's not the first time here in Italy. So it's
First time
No,
for
but for
6
6
a.m.
a.m. it's the first
Yes,
time,
it
and we're
is.
very excited, yeah.
Okay, so can we define the new album, like the very first one, for what is now a real band? Not only maybe a project like in the past, since after Motley Crue farewell or DJ Ashba leaving Guns N' Roses, is now a real band?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We're so excited to finally be doing this full time, and the fans have really been the reason that we became a band after this many years.
Yeah.
It's organically built, and we're just out here having a blast. Happy to be in Milan, Italy.
Yeah, and the new record, Prayers for the Damned, it really does reflect the fact that we've all focused 100% on 6 a.m. now. I think that just by listening to it, anyone that's familiar with our previous records, the Heroin Diaries soundtrack, This Is Gonna Hurt, or Modern Vintage, I think the one thing they'll notice immediately on this new record is there is this new, very solid focus, and we're all much more focused on 6 a.m. now, and I think that shows in the new music.
Well, I think we knew that touring on Modern Vintage, which was an album that was not meant to be toured on. It was a record that we made together to explore some musical influences. But once we went out and toured on that, we knew that we were going to start focusing on being a live band. That was when we got really inspired about making music that would be perfect to be performed live. There's nothing on it. There's nothing on Prayers for the Damned that you can't play live.
So did you work any differently this time on the tracks, considering the fact that the songs were conceived to be played live?
Well, we did. In fact, one of the things that we did differently this time around is we brought our touring band into the studio with us because we wanted it to sound like a live. We wanted this record to sound like we sound live, which it does. And part of that reason is because we actually brought the musicians that tour with us into the studio. So the whole record sounds very live.
Are you going to add officially a drummer to the band, or are you going to use...
The band will always be James, DJ, and myself. Dustin Stanky's playing drums with us. We love Dustin.
Yeah.
And any musicians that we use will always be part of the touring band. And if we record, they'll be part of the recording band. But the core of 6 a.m. is the three of us. All the ideas, the songwriting, the lyrics, the art, it's all from us, and that's something I don't think will ever change.
No.
You all have had a lot of experiences, previous bands and so on. How different is the approach in the spirit and in the attitude when you form a band like 6 a.m. Compared, like to Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses?
You can't really compare them because they have nothing to do with each other. Just like you can't compare any musician that was in any band to what they did before, because if you take James out of 6 a.m. and you put James with another bass player and a guitar player, it's not going to sound like 6 a.m. It's kind of like we are a combination of ourselves. And any bands or any projects we've ever done in the past was a combination of those things. That's called chemistry. We love that. That's real.
Yeah, we're all songwriters. We've all written for other bands, and we have a gift, I guess, to write a song and it sounds like that band. When we don't try to sound like anybody else, that's what 6 a.m. sounds like.
But what I mean, it's like the perspective and also maybe the expectations are different this time, and also the spirit, because maybe back then you met at school, you were friends. Now it's a different kind of thing. So is this approach very, very different?
No,
the fact that you were all pros, already. So.
Well, I think that in the music world, chemistry is hard to come by.
Yeah.
Partnerships are hard to come by. That's why there are very few really good bands out there, and there's a lot of bands that maybe don't have that chemistry. So when you do find that chemistry like the three of us have had, And like all of us have had with other bands in the past, you hang on to it and you cherish it, and then what you do is you nurture that and you help that to grow. So I think that the chemistry that we have has nothing to do with what we've done in the past, other than the fact that you're bringing experiences with you to every project that you do. But 6 a.m. is a very unique chemistry because we are all such good friends. So in a lot of ways, we are ultimately what bands should be and hope to be, which is friends that like creating music together. We get along. We're not doing this for any other reason than the love of what we create together and the love of each other.
And how did it all start? Which was the spark? How did you meet? And actually, maybe you were friends already, as you said, but how did you decide, to be a band?
I think that we never wanted to be a band, but I think what started us in the beginning is
we always wanted to be a project. We wanted to be a project, musical project. It was really, like DJ said, it was the fans that kept demanding. And when Life Is Beautiful came out and went #1. We had no intention of ever touring, and we were offered and a little bit kind of forced into touring. We went out and we went, wow, we really like this. Let's make another record. I don't think we had any intention of ever making another record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. We're happy you did.
Yeah, so we're really happy.
Well, the original album was we were gonna put that in the back of his books. It was never gonna be like released.
It was called the Heroin Diaries soundtrack. That was it. It didn't even have a band name.
Yeah.
But this time there's no book, right? With this record. No book.
There's a double album.
Okay, yeah, I know. But I actually wanted to ask you, did you actually write whole bunch of songs together and then you decided to split in 2 different releases? No. Okay.
We intentionally made 2 records. When we got off tour last year, we all knew that we were going to be committing full-time to 6 a.m. moving forward. We knew that Motley Crue was winding down. We knew that DJ was leaving Guns N' Roses. And we knew that we were all going to be focused on this 100%. So what we did is we made a very conscious decision to make 2 records, to write and record 28 songs, and we knew that we wanted to release them separately because that's a lot of music to give to fans. But our intention in doing this was that we knew we were going to be out touring a lot, and we wanted to give a lot of music to our fans. To kind of kickstart this next phase of 6 a.m.'s career. So it was a very intentional thing to make these 2 records. It wasn't like we just went into the studio and ended up with some extra songs and decided, let's put out 2 records.
It was very important to us as we were writing the music. We started separating them by basically like a brother or a sister to the song. So the song Rise, we'd be writing, we go, these 2 songs feel like they're related.
Okay.
Well, let's separate them.
Okay.
So this goes on volume 2, and then a song like Better Man, we have another song that might live in the same world. You wouldn't want them on the same record. So it was really it was fun for us to paint with 2 different brushes. But if we have a song like Rise, you can't have a bad version of Rise on the second album. So it would force us to even take everything and keep making it better, and the albums became almost in competition with each other.
Wow. Praise for the Damned, Volume 1, the title itself presents the new record in a very intriguing way. What's behind the choice of the title of the album? Which are your demons? And actually the new sound is also heavier this time. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. That was we did that on purpose because again we knew that we were going to be touring a lot, and the heavier, more aggressive sound is what was translating well to the audiences from the stage.
And we felt comfortable with that more when we were on tour. It was the heavier songs that we played that ended up being the ones in our set that we love playing the most.
Right, and as far as your question about Prayers for the Damned, it's a very poetic title, and that's what kind of inspired us for both records. But 6 a.m. has always dealt with that balance between beauty and darkness. We deal with a lot of very heavy subject matter in our songs, but we also are always focusing on the hope within those. And Prayers for the Damned is really that battle between good and evil on a very global level, but also on a very personal level.
Again, about the fact that you are splitting, the album in 2. Is also related to the fact that people now, like everything in an immediate way, and everything burns very fast.
Yeah.
So maybe giving them a double album would have been too much, also
we
for the
all-
approach of the people now.
We all kind of felt that way. We put so much heart and soul into these songs when we're writing them that there's a lot to absorb. In fact, the way James produces these, you know, you can listen to it one way on a stereo and put it in your car. You have a different experience. You put it on headphones, it's a totally different experience.
really?
So there's a lot to soak in on these albums, and we put a lot into each.
We would hate for you to miss 3/4 of the second album because you had too much music in it. And you know, I'm a fan of bands, but some of my favorite bands have done double records, and I never really gave the last half of the double record the attention it needed because I just ran out of time, or it's like I kind of kept going back to my favorites. So we realized that, you know, when we do put out Volume 2, people would have had a chance to love or hate or whatever they feel about Volume 1, and Volume 2 now will be a new experience. Also, it's a time when a lot of bands, I saw Roger Daltrey just said, you know, the music industry is failing, why would I make records anymore? And we actually disagree with that. We think the music industry is starting to flourish again, and we think that streaming is the future, and we want to make music that's streamable, which is not unlike vinyl.
Yeah.
Like, you listen to the whole record, and so, you know, when you're done with Prayers for the Damned after, you know, a certain amount of time, you're going to get second album, and you'll be able to have the same experience. And you know, back to, you know, the fact is that we think more music is better than less music.
Yeah. And for the lyrics, did you work together, or is there somebody in particular in charge for the lyrics, and which is the inspiration this time?
Well, we you know, throughout 6 a.m.'s history, since the beginning, we've all been very involved. As DJ said earlier, we're all songwriters. We all write songs on our own,
Okay.
and we write together. As a band evolves, you kind of find, you know, what works, but we're all so involved in every little element of it. And we're also, here's the other thing, we're not precious about that. You know, any idea that comes in, that's something that I think is very unique about us, is that as most bands go on through their career, they become more precious about this, you know, and people want to put their stamp on what happens. But for us, it's really about the collaborative effort. So, you know, obviously Nikki's known as a fantastic lyricist. You know, but all of us are very involved in that, and the messaging is very important. Not to mention, not just about lyrics, but even in like guitar solos, bass parts. It's very common for us to work together, or for us to work together on writing those parts. So it's a real collaborative, supportive
Yes
thing.
is always the answer to 6 a.m.
But we've never written the same song twice. We don't write, every song is different, you know, it's a different journey for us to take, you know, so, like, every song.
Yeah.
Every song we've ever done, so it's a different experience.
And do you put your personal stuff and your personal lives in the songs, or the message is the more important thing, the most important thing, and maybe, you know, if it's a story?
It always comes from us, or from information that's happening on the planet. There's no made-up subject matter in our music. We don't go, we should write a song about a flower, because that's what's popular. We don't do that. We actually don't really care what's popular. We kind of go by, you know, what feels right to us.
I think
and we experiment a lot. You know, there's a lot of times with all the songs, we'll have a song. I know this is a song on the second record, which is my favorite song that we've ever done. I remember getting it, and DJ had done a solo, and I said, yeah, I love that guitar solo, but what if you even pushed yourself more? And he was like, okay. Those guys went in the studio, and they like this like amazing thing, or it'll be like, you could do the bass part better, or we could refine the lyrics, or James is redoing vocal parts sometimes the day of a master. He's like, wait, I want to do that one word a little better. So we're constantly like trying to make it better, and not worrying about what's popular, but worrying about what's right.
Yeah, and as far as the lyrics go, I think as songwriters, as poets, that's what you do. You put yourself in everything. Obviously, it starts here, but the art of lyric writing, or the art of poetry, is being able to find a way to take something that's very personal to you and then present it in a way where you can then connect yourself to it, and it becomes your message. And that's what our goal always is. And I think that's that's really what sets the great songwriters apart from other people that just don't have that ability to draw the connection between the two.
That's why a lot of times you'll find songwriters are inspired by poets. You know, for myself, it's most of the Beat generation writers from the 50s and some of the 60s. I like the tempo of that. Other writers like, you know, more classical style, you know, guys like Bob Dylan and Springsteen, storytellers. So you find what you're inspired by musically, lyrically, but you, like James said, it can't be fake.
Yeah.
It can't be fake. And I think that's, if there's ever a musician ever asked me a question, say, you know, what should I do? I says, be honest.
So this means that you never use the imagination. You do.
Always.
Always.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Through
You
our
couldn't
culture.
exist without imagination.
Okay.
You know.
And concerning the single "Rise," which was, you know, it was the very first single of the album. Why that song in particular? And also sounds very universal and very particular. So, is there any special reason why you picked that one as the first song?
Well, yeah. When we were writing the record, we were really overwhelmed, as everyone was in this world, by what's going on in the world. Not only in America with this crazy election cycle we've been having, but also just with the chaos going on around the world. So we were reacting to that. Rise was one of those songs that was especially connected to what is going on in the world right now. And it really, as the song developed, and then once we released it, it took on a life of its own, and it became kind of a call to arms, or an empowering message for people to stand up for what they believe in, rise up, come together, set your differences aside, and try as best you can to change the world for the better. Now that's a very simple explanation of what it is, but I think that simple thing is what is resonating with people. And so it just seemed like the obvious right choice as a first single because of what's going on in the world right now.
Since you work always all together as a trio, did you ever switch instruments, for example, just, you know, to show the other what you meant
All the time.
him to play?
Oh, yeah.
You do that.
Oh
So,
yeah,
all the time.
absolutely.
Like James said, we're not precious.
yeah.
DJ a lot of times, I'll say, I don't have an idea for this, like this. And he'll be like, you know, what if you did this, like put this on the bass? I'm like, that's what it needed. And then, you know, it'll start the process. We constantly do that.
Yeah.
How egocentric would we be if it's like, that's all I do is do that? It would be like, it wouldn't be a being of service to the music.
And DJ Ashba, how many guitars do you own at the moment? And do you have a favorite one? Do you change the set, you know, from the studio to the live
I
set?
have probably, I don't know, close to 100 guitars.
Wow.
I think,
My
throughout
God.
my house and everywhere, storage units.
So you also collect?
I don't collect them. I've been given a lot of guitars over the
Alright.
years, you know, so I have a ton. I have like 20
You can
some
give
Les
me
Pauls.
one.
I have 20 some Les Pauls. And,
You only need 19, you could be one.
I'll get.
I want that glitter.
But the best guitar that I've played on is the new Schecter.
That's,
for sure.
that's the one I want.
Yeah, that's it.
James wants one too.
Oh yeah.
No, we abused it on the album when we were designing it and the prototype, and we got it perfect, you know. And I've been abusing it out of here on tour. It's a beast. The thing is awesome.
So can we define that a kind of signature model, since you
Yeah,
said it's a prototype? So
It is my signature guitar. It's
Okay.
it's going to be available here soon by Schecter.
okay.
And it's a beast. It has all the bells and whistles.
What's special in that? Which were your requests?
Well, they allowed me to design my own headstock, and as everybody knows, that's the identity of any guitar company. So to be able to do that and have your own unique thing, and the crows down the fretboard, and then we did the body shape they don't have available there either, so that's unique. And then we have a kill switch, Sustainiac pickups, EMG 81s, Floyd Rose, detuners, like the whole thing. It's just awesome.
And concerning amps, what you're using at the moment?
He turned me on to Kempers. We've been using those on the records for a couple albums now. And I was on Fractal with GNR, and finally this is the first tour where I'm using the exact same tones from the album that we would dial in to the stage.
For the guitar heads that actually want to know the amp, it was a Bogner Shiva. It was two different Bogner Shivas that we then profiled through the Kempers. So the Kemper's fantastic for that. So once the tones were dialed in, we transferred them over to the Kemper, but it would be a Bogner amp on both albums.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of research on the sound, I mean, or if you like, plug it in and let's
He
play.
does.
He's very meticulous.
I just go with what sounds right to my ear. I've never been into that guy.
Well, what's cool is he knows what he likes, and so quite often, as the producer and the mixer of the band, it becomes my job to then discover how to create those things. There was one song, Stars, on our last record, where DJ had a couple of songs from the past that he had just been like, I want to get that sound, I want to get that sound. So we worked for months to find the right combination of amps and miking and processing to get that sound, and that's what's fun. I love that stuff as a mixing engineer and a producer. I love that kind of stuff, and we just go down all sorts of rabbit holes trying to discover tones and stuff.
We're good like that with pedals too. Like he loves to dive in and get weird pedals. He's always bringing in the studio that makes all these weird, wacky noises. We love experimenting.
Okay. So James, as a producer also of the record, which are the pros and cons? Being the producer, the singer, the songwriter. You had a double, triple role involved. So.
That's a great question, and actually, it could potentially be a very difficult thing to do to separate yourself as a singer and as a producer, because sometimes those two things don't go hand in hand. In fact, sometimes they're the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So I rely very heavily on my two bandmates. We support each other, so when there is a question or when my mind can't separate the two, I can always go to my two bandmates and say, what do you guys think? And I think that's so the process has been very fun and actually very, very easy because of that. Now, if there wasn't that trust between the three of us, it could potentially be a disaster. But I think that's another reason that 6 a.m. is unique and special.
We've done edits over the phone. Like call me guitar edits, and I'll be like, no. And it's crazy. Some of that, we've written songs over the phone.
With James, there's no ego. I think ego would be the downfall of having to wear all those hats, because he'd be like, well, I'm a singer, and he's not precious about that. He'd be like, I this part, I'm not quite happy with it. Instead of saying, I have this part and that's all there is to it, he'd actually reach out to one of us and go, what do you guys think? And we're like, actually, it's perfect. Or, oh, I see what you're saying. And even as a mixer, he'll be like, I'm really happy with this, but I'm wondering what you guys think. And he's usually spot on, but he's open to the information. And that's like back to the thing I said, yes is always the answer for everything for us. We're willing to look at it.
But not because you are yes man.
No.
Not that.
That
Okay,
could
not
make for
that.
very bad right? At some point, yes is when he says yes is the answer. Yes is the answer. We'll try anything.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that everything works.
No. Yeah, cream always rises to the top.
Right.
We've had a lot of days where we were like, hey, DJ, like I have an idea. We're like, okay. And at the end of the day, we're like, we got nothing. And the next day, it's like, I got an idea. End of the day, nothing. And then the next day, nothing. And all of a sudden, we'll write 5 songs in one day.
Okay.
But if we said no, they would know.
Yeah.
None of them would have happened.
And we're not the kind of band that'll ever put a filler on an album or a throwaway song. And that goes back to the point why we won't release a double album at the same time. There are no throwaways on either record.
And Nikki, how many basses do you have? And is still the Thunderbird your weapon of choice, even with 6 a.m.?
No, I think I might only own, I have an acoustic bass, the 59P bass, and I think I have 4 basses, Schecters. And that's all.
You have 5. I have 5.
Oh, 5's in one your house. Okay.
No, you have 6. One's at my house.
Okay. I'm not really, into it. When I stopped working with Gibson, the quality of the instruments kind of started going down. I was having a hard time with them. Even the necks were kind of warbly and stuff. And I met the guys at Schecter, and we designed this new bass, and it's such a bigger sound, and it feels good, and it plays good. Everything that I love about any instrument I've ever played, we kind of all rolled it into one. And I'm not very precious about collecting anything, so as these guys know, I don't even have a gold or platinum record on my wall. I'm not much into that. I'm kind of into what we're doing and making music, and the other stuff is just not really my thing. It's okay. I have friends that collect fucking shit.
I'm not a collector.
He's not a collector either. You just have stuff.
Not the guy that has an old vintage Fender, blah blah blah. I just have what was given to me and whatever.
So DJ Ashba, besides being an amazing guitarist, you also have a clothing line. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what you're looking for in this kind of expression of your art, and is that like just a hobby, or it's like a side business for you?
I'm not into fashion at all, really. I'm an artist. I love to draw. I did ever since I was little, I would draw on anything. I had my own cartoon newspaper for many years, and so that is my new canvas. I just love to create art on fabric. But it goes back to designing the 2 new album covers. I just love it. It's always art and music. It's always been part of my brain, my left side and my right, and I think we're all a lot like that in a sense.
And do you, Nikki, still have your sunglasses line?
I don't.
Not yet? Not anymore? Okay.
I had themes on
Did you? Oh, that's right. What was that?
Just a curiosity that I have, since you all now make interviews with your radio show, did your approach to interviews change after that? Do you understand us better now?
I think my approach to interviews is we just hang out.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different than we just hang out with musicians.
Okay.
And when people come into my studio, it's very casual, and then everybody just kind of talks. So it's a little less about the interview and more about just kind of getting to know the person. Yeah.
Okay. And will you be back as an headliners? Maybe next
hope
winter.
so.
That's our
Okay.
hope.
We're not going to quit until we do.
So it's not a project at the moment.
No, this is a
we're
full-time
fully
6 a.m. We're touring now. We're going back to the States. In September we start touring with Five Finger Death Punch in Papa Roach in Canada.
Yeah, right.
And then in October, November, December we're touring all arenas with Five Finger, Shinedown and us. And then we're coming to Europe next year and doing an arena tour as well. So that'll finish up the double album, the whole project, and we're already working on music for the following record, beyond the double record.
Wow.
So we're we're already thinking pretty far ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank
you. Thank you.